Murray inside, incredible! Jamal Murray with a stroke of genius.
When you see Jamal Murray killing it in the playoffs, what does that show you as far as what Team Canada can do at the Olympics?
I think, it's a clear indication of, where Canada basketball is now and where the team is progressing. The commitment and, the success we see of him today isn't just something that started today. It's, this is something that commitment from himself, his mentorship, his, guys at the grassroots level, years in advance. And you have to commend the players for the level of commitment and how much they invest in their craft.
I would say that my expectations for this group is pretty high, but I would say it reaffirmed my feeling. It reaffirmed my excitement, and it was like, yeah, I'm justified in this. These boys can play. They are fearless.
What Jamal showed in this playoffs is well beyond sort of what other Canadians have shown in the NBA, pretty much outside of Steve Nash, right? I mean, there's been a long tradition of Canadians in the NBA, but a lot of them have not been star players. I mean, what Jamal did, that was superstar stuff. And he did it against, the top tier competition. I mean, obviously people in Canada are very familiar with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, Jamal Murray outplayed Kawhi Leonard on multiple occasions in the playoffs, especially with a guy like Jamal, who's already proclaimed that he will be, playing for Team Canada in the upcoming tournaments. He's a guy who's obviously has a lot of Canadian pride. He's played for Canada in multiple tournaments before. Everyone should be thrilled.
Besides Jamal, who are some other Canadian players that we should be looking out for?
There's a large pool of players, a multitude of players that you have to pick from. And I think that's a great problem that Nick Nurse will have going, along that line down the future. There's, a lot of guys in Europe that are playing well. Melvin Ejim, Kevin Pangos, Kyle Wiltshire, that are guys that you still have to pay attention to because the Olympics, the Canadian national team is not just an NBA team anymore. It's a different culture of basketball, and you find that out when you travel across the globe to play.
Can we stop talking about Andrew Wiggins?
Stop or start? Why are we stopping?
Because hasn't he shown us that he's just not interested? And isn't it better to just work with what you got? I know Nick Nurse and him have some kind of budding relationship, but I just think it's better for everyone's health and well-being, especially in these times, if we just pretend that he's on a long-term injured reserve list when it comes to Team Canada, because guessing about his status is not going to help us.
There are 22 Canadians in the NBA this season. Team Canada might be in a place for the first time in history where they might be cutting NBA players from their roster. Now, of course, I don't want to get ahead of myself. A lot of circumstances might come into play. Team Canada with recruitment has been an issue historically, and we'll see. But I mean, in terms of some of the young guys coming up, I'm really excited. A guy like Brandon Clark, he made All NBA, rookie first team this year with the Memphis Grizzlies. Really talented, big. He finishes above the rim. Developing shooter as well. He had a really nice rookie year. Team Canada we have a lot of talent right now.
The NBA season's gone on longer or later than usually would have. We're gonna have a shortened time between the following season. Do you think it's gonna have an effect on some of the players wanting to go to the Olympics and be in another bubble situation?
I think it potentially could because I've heard that they've potentially are going to start the season late January. Now that could roll over into the Olympic qualifiers, which obviously will be fighting for for a spot in. You have to use more of the European guys, but those are also the guys that, got us to this position and played in the qualifiers and so forth. So, there is, some broad talent, some really good talent abroad that you put together and, that has some good chemistry already. So you can't really discredit that. I don't think it puts us at a disadvantage, but yes, it's a problem that not only the Canadian national team is going to have, but other teams if the NBA, pushes further into the qualifying tournaments.
Well, I think the problems still remain when you have multimillionaires going to live in an Olympic village that historically has had a lot of problems with the accommodations for everybody. It's tough when you have people who are used to luxurious things, penthouses. We saw in 2016, I believe it was, the US men's national team, they got a yacht. They're like, listen, we want to be here, but we also have like a standard we would like to uphold and we want our private chefs to be involved. So I don't think the bubble is the problem because traditionally the Olympic Village for these athletes, is it not very bubble-like anyway? Is it not the original bubble situation anyway?
We asked Raptors head coach Nick Nurse, who is also now coaching Team Canada, sort of about this in press conferences earlier this month, and he talked about how, yes, he's in conversation with everybody, but there's just a lot of uncertainty because you don't know. A lot of it depends on what the NBA is going to do with their upcoming 2021 season. Please keep in mind that with Canada, they have not actually punched their ticket to the Tokyo Games. They need to first win their qualifying tournament that they'll be hosting in Victoria in late June. So if you're looking at the NBA season, if it starts in January, then yeah, I think Canada could still have pretty good participation. Canada basketball made a huge investment to host the tournaments, one of these Olympic qualifying tournaments. And if they can't get their top players to be there, that'll truly be a shame.